War between global powers is never as simple as who has the bigger army. History has shown us something surprising: the strongest military doesn't always win. The United States lost in Vietnam. It struggled for 2 decades in Afghanistan. And Iraq turned into one of the most expensive wars in modern history. So the real question is not who has the strongest weapons. The real question is, who can survive the longest? If a full-scale war erupts between the United States, Israel, and Iran, many analysts believe the conflict could become one of the most dangerous and unpredictable wars of the 21st century. And surprisingly, there are several reasons why America might not win. Iran has expected conflict with the United States for decades. Because of sanctions, threats, and regional tensions, Iran built its entire military strategy around one idea: asymmetric warfare. Instead of trying to match America plane for plane or ship for ship, Iran built a system designed to make war extremely expensive and painful for its enemies. This includes thousands of ballistic missiles, massive drone arsenals, underground military bases, naval guerrilla tactics in the Persian Gulf, and proxy groups across the Middle East. Military experts say Iran doesn't need to defeat the United States directly. It only needs to make the war impossible to sustain. Iran's geography alone is a nightmare for invading armies. The country is 4 times larger than Iraq, filled with mountains, deserts, and dense urban centers. Invading Iran would be far more difficult than the wars in Iraq or Afghanistan. Armies would face narrow mountain passes, long supply lines, and millions of armed defenders. Iran also has nearly 90 million people. Even if the government fell, resistance could continue for years. A ground invasion could become one of the most complex military operations ever attempted. The United States has dozens of military bases across the Middle East. But that advantage also creates a weakness. Those bases are within range of Iranian missiles. Iran possesses thousands of short and medium-range ballistic missiles capable of striking Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Israel, and U.S. military bases across the region. In a large-scale conflict, Iran could launch waves of missiles and drones simultaneously. This strategy is known as saturation attacks. Overwhelming air defenses with large numbers of projectiles. Even the most advanced missile defense systems have limits. One of Iran's most powerful weapons isn't a missile. It's geography. At the entrance of the Persian Gulf lies a narrow shipping route called the Strait of Hormuz. Around 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this single corridor. If Iran blocks or disrupts this route, the global economy could collapse into chaos. Oil prices could skyrocket. Inflation could surge. And Western economies could face severe economic pressure. Iran knows this. And it may use energy disruption as a strategic weapon. Iran understands something very important. The United States is powerful. But its wars depend heavily on political support at home. If American casualties rise, if the war becomes expensive, if the economy suffers, public support could collapse. Iran's strategy is simple: outlast the United States. According to analysts, Iran is already preparing for a war of attrition, focusing on endurance rather than quick victory. This means the conflict could last months, or even years. Israel has one of the strongest militaries in the Middle East. But it also faces a unique challenge. Iran has built a network of allied forces across the region. These groups include armed factions in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. If war erupts, Israel could face attacks from multiple directions at once. Thousands of rockets and missiles could target Israeli cities. Air defense systems like Iron Dome are powerful, but they are not unlimited. The longer the war lasts, the more pressure Israel would face. A war between Iran and the United States might not stay limited. It could spread across the Middle East. Countries that could become involved include Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and the Gulf states. Shipping routes could be attacked. Oil infrastructure could be destroyed. And global trade could collapse. What begins as one conflict could rapidly become a regional war. Wars are not won only on battlefields. They are also fought through economics. Missiles, aircraft, and logistics cost billions of dollars. Prolonged wars drain national budgets. Even for the United States, the cost of extended conflict could be enormous. Meanwhile, Iran has already spent decades adapting its economy to survive sanctions and isolation. This resilience may allow Iran to endure longer than expected. Modern wars are no longer fought only with tanks and jets. Today, drones, cyber warfare, and artificial intelligence are transforming battlefields. Iran has invested heavily in cheap drone technology. These drones are difficult to intercept and can be produced in large numbers. Instead of expensive fighter jets, Iran uses large swarms of low-cost weapons. This changes the entire economics of warfare. There is one final danger that makes this conflict especially terrifying: nuclear escalation. Iran's nuclear program has been one of the central reasons behind tensions with the United States and Israel. Some analysts fear that if Iran believes its survival is threatened, it could accelerate nuclear development. Others fear that Israel could launch major strikes to stop it. Either scenario could push the world toward one of the most dangerous military confrontations in modern history. Perhaps the biggest risk of this conflict is escalation. If the war spirals out of control, major global powers could become involved. Russia and China may not fight directly, but geopolitical tensions could rise dramatically. And if nuclear weapons ever entered the equation, the consequences would be catastrophic for the entire world. War between the United States, Israel, and Iran would not be simple. It would not be quick. And it would not be predictable. Yes, the United States possesses the most powerful military on Earth. But power alone does not guarantee victory. Iran's strategy focuses on endurance, geography, regional alliances, and economic pressure. And sometimes in war, the side that survives the longest is the side that wins. If such a war ever begins, the outcome may reshape the Middle East and the world for generations.